Hello everyone, American Sports 365. Here with me once again is my colleague Alex. So, as you all know, Arsenal finished their 2022-2023 season, and finishing second in the Premier League with 84 points, which is obviously a significant improvement from last season. In some ways, it's a little disappointing since Arsenal was at the top of the Premier League table for a while, but regardless, still a massive improvement. So with that said, let's get into the season review for Arsenal's 2022-2023 season. So, as just mentioned, starting with the Premier League, Arsenal finished second, 84 points, 5 points behind Manchester City. So Arsenal definitely challenged Manchester City for the title. Ultimately came up a little bit short, but definitely much better than last season. And Arsenal will be back in the Champions League next season, so definitely a big step in the right direction. So, what are your overall thoughts on the Premier League portion of Arsenal's 2022-2023 season?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good season. Qualifying for the Champions League. That was our main goal going into the season. We achieved that. Of course, it's a little disappointing that we didn't win the title, considering we were, as you said, at the top of the league for a long time. But we're going to strengthen the off season and hopefully make another title challenge next season.
Yeah, it's. I guess you'd look at it as slightly sort of a mixed bag, but overall it was a significant improvement. And we came into the season just expecting Arsenal to finish in the top four, and did more than that. Challenging for the title and finishing second. Clearly, one of the best teams in the Premier League, at least when their starting 11 was actually healthy. Specifically, before Sleeve's injury. Obviously, Sleeve's injury really kind of derailed Arsenal's title challenge. So Arsenal definitely have to add some defensive depth, but overall, a massive step in the right direction. Obviously, Arsenal will look to be active in the summer transfer window to make an even more serious title charge next season. So, moving on to the Europa League, Arsenal made it to the round of 16. Ultimately ended up getting knocked out by Sporting at that stage, losing on penalties. I think overall it would have been nice to Arsenal win the Europa League, but at the same time it was obviously a secondary competition to the Premier League. Really always would be, but especially considering that Arsenal were challenging for the title. So slightly disappointing, but I think overall not too disappointed about that. So, what are your thoughts on Arsenal's Europa League campaign?
Yeah, like I said, it was a little disappointing, but we were focused on the Premier League. Getting knocked out relatively early allowed us to focus more on the Premiership and on playing in Europe. So it probably helped our form in the Premier League in the end. So it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, true. The real big negative from the Europa League wasn't winning it; it was Saliba's injury. He picked up that injury in the first leg against Sporting, and that really derailed Arsenal's title challenge. I think Arsenal might have, actually won the Premier League title without that injury. So, I guess slightly disappointing, but obviously it was a secondary objective anyway. So, real quickly, as far as the two domestic cups are concerned, Arsenal made it to the fourth round of the FA Cup, got knocked out by Man City, and made it to the third round of the League Cup and ended up getting knocked out by Brighton. So didn't win either of those competitions, but again, those were secondary to Arsenal's Premier League campaign. So real quickly, what are your thoughts on Arsenal's runs in those two domestic cups?
Yeah, we didn't really have much of a run in either cup, so it was kind of disappointing. But obviously, the Premiership takes precedence since it matters the most, and we had a good campaign in the Premiership.
Yeah, that's certainly true, and I also think that it's worth noting that Arsenal, got knocked out by good teams. Obviously, Man City, won the Premier League title. They already won the FA Cup as well, and probably going to complete the triple by being Inter Milan in the Champions League final here coming up soon. And obviously, Brighton are also a very good team, probably the most improved team, and finishing sixth, so they'll be playing in Europe next season. Certainly wasn't like Arsenal got dumped out of the competitions by some lower league competition or anything like that. So not embarrassing, I guess, a little bit disappointing. So moving on to players, there were a lot of really good Arsenal players this season. Certainly more than a few candidates for Arsenal's best player of the 2022-2023 season. But for me, I think Odegaard takes it. He was fantastic, 15 goals, 8 assists. Was really consistent throughout the whole season, and really took a step up. On the other hand, as far as disappointing players go, probably have to say Fabio Vieira. He arrived at Arsenal for a pretty decent fee and only had 1 goal and 2 assists in 19 appearances, so definitely a bit disappointing. But of course, it was his first season in the Premier League, so certainly can't give up hope on him or anything yet. So, what are your thoughts on Arsenal's best player of the season and most disappointing player of the season?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. At least the Odegaard was the best player of the season. He was very consistent, 23 goal contributions, and he also showed a lot of leadership after he was made captain, which I didn't really know he had that in him, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And Fabio Vieira was certainly one of the most disappointing players of the season, if not the outright most disappointing player of the season. I think Holding also has to be nominated for most disappointing player of the season, and that we knew he wasn't good enough to be a starter, but didn't think he would be quite as bad as he was when he had to come in and replace Saliba after Saliba's injury. So I was very disappointed from Holding as well.
Yeah, although to be honest, I didn't expect Holding to really replace Saliba adequately, to be honest. So that's why I wouldn't pick him for most disappointing player because I didn't have as high expectations for him in the first place. But yeah, definitely a candidate there. And Odegaard was fantastic and deserving captain, and I'm looking forward to seeing him next season because I think he will probably be even better. He already had a fantastic season last season. Now, as far as Arteta goes throughout this whole season, gave him an 8 out of 10 manager rating, taking into account the whole season. I think he did a lot of things right. He usually set up the team well for success. A lot of times made really good substitutions that had a positive impact on matches. I certainly had more than a few good halftime team talks. So I think overall he did a very good job. A few of the questionable decisions that he made, that he stuck with Holding and Party for too long, at least in my opinion. Neither one of them were playing that well. And playing Saliba in the Europa League, really ended up backfiring with him getting injured, and then that sort of derailed Arsenal season kind of overall. But overall, I think he did a very good job. So, your thoughts on Arteta's performance overall this season.
Yeah, overall, I think he was excellent. Of course, he wasn't perfect. He did make a few mistakes, but yeah, overall, he was excellent. As I said, better than last season. It wasn't that long ago people were saying Arteta out, but even though that end to this season was kind of disappointing, I don't hear anyone saying that now.
No, certainly not. I think he'll be Arsenal manager for quite some time, and he should be. Obviously, still a bit inexperienced, still got things to learn, but I think he's certainly proven that he's the right man for the job at this point. So there you have it. That concludes our season review for Arsenal's 2022-23 season. Overall, very good season. Came up a bit short for the Premier League title, but certainly challenged for it and certainly exceeded expectations, and most importantly did qualify for the Champions League again. So overall, definitely a positive season, and I'm excited to see how Arsenal does next season after strengthening in the summer transfer window.